Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next half an hour. US President Donald Trump says Iran is in very bad shape after failure of peace talks as US Navy moves to blockade Iran's ports. Tehran response will not bow to US threats. UK and France to lead talks on a defensive naval mission for the Strait of Hormuz. Indian government says Indian flagged vessel Jag Vikram carrying around 20,400 metric tons of LPG is expected to reach Kandla port on the 14th of April. Viktor Orban concedes defeat after 16 years in power in landmark Hungary general polls. Peter Magyar set to be the new Prime Minister. Good evening to all the viewers joining us at this evening broadcast. To begin with the latest, the United States and Iran launched a new round of strategic maneuvering over the Strait of Hormuz, a vital choke point for the global energy market on Sunday after peace talks between the two sides that ended without a deal. US President Donald Trump says the ceasefire with Iran is holding for now, but confirms a blockade is imminent, while Tehran is in no mood to bow under pressure. Here's more.
Tensions are escalating in West Asia as the United States moves to impose a naval blockade on Iranian ports. The US Navy is set to block all vessels entering or leaving Iranian ports after talks collapsed over Tehran's nuclear program. Washington says ships transiting the strait to non-Iranian ports will not be stopped, but any vessel paying tolls to Iran could face action.
I think Iran is in very bad shape. I think they're very desperate. We had a meeting that lasted 21 hours. We understand the situation better than anybody, and Iran's in very bad shape. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. Will not have. There is no way that they're going to get. They still want it. And they made that clear the other night. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon.
Iran has strongly pushed back. Parliament Speaker Mohammad Baghir Ghalibaf asserted that Tehran will not bow to pressure. IRGC also issued a stern warning that any approaching military vessel could trigger a strong response. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi accused Washington of shifting demands, though President Masoud Pezeshkian says a deal is still possible if US pressure ends. The two sides have failed to reach agreement on the US demand that Iran cease funding for Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthis, as well as fully open the strait. Iran has rejected Washington's call for an end to all uranium enrichment, dismantling of all major enrichment facilities and the transfer of highly enriched uranium. The collapse has raised fears of renewed conflict across the region. The US military said it will blockade all Iranian Gulf ports on Monday at 1500 GMT, effectively seizing control of maritime traffic in the critical Strait of Hormuz, the strategic waterway through which a fifth of the global oil supply passes. US Central Command says blockade will be imposed against vessels entering or departing Iranian ports. US forces will not impede vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz to and from non-Iranian ports, while Iran warns it would trap any challenger in Strait of Hormuz in a deadly vortex. A naval blockade prevents ships from using a coastal region. Under international law, a naval blockade is considered an act of war. It can effectively cripple enemy's economy by restricting sea-based commerce. Strait of Hormuz is a narrow stretch of water located between Iran, the United Arab Emirates and Oman. The waterway connects the Gulf to the Gulf of Oman, making it a vital global shipping route. Any disruption here could impact global energy supplies and shipping costs. With diplomacy stalled and military posturing increasing, Fears are growing that the Strait of Hormuz could become the flashpoint for a wider conflict. Aarti Rana for DD India.
United Kingdom and France will co-host talks this week to restore the freedom of navigation in Strait of Hormuz amid rising tensions in the Gulf. French President Emmanuel Macron said discussions will explore a strictly defensive multinational naval mission separate from the warring sides to safeguard shipping. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the closure of the strait is hurting global trade and adding to cost of living pressures as countries work towards a coordinated plan to ensure safe maritime movement once the conflict eases. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen stressed on Monday that restoring freedom of navigation in Hormuz Strait is of paramount importance following escalating tensions between Washington and Tehran. Her remarks came after US President Donald Trump announced that the US would impose a blockade on maritime traffic entering and exiting Iranian ports and coastal areas, citing a breakdown in negotiations.
The ongoing closure of the Strait of Hormuz is greatly damaging, and the restoration of the freedom of navigation is of paramount importance for us. We're also worried that the continuous strike on Lebanon threatened to derail the entire process. We are mobilizing relief EU stocks to provide immediate aid to the Lebanese people, but no amount of aid can replace the safety of a permanent peace. A key lesson of the past weeks is that security is indivisible.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said UK will not be drawn into the Iran conflict and will not support any blockade of Hormuz Strait. He emphasized that reopening the strait remains a top priority, with Britain focusing its efforts on ensuring free navigation in the region. He also noted that UK military assets, including minesweepers, are deployed with the aim of keeping the vital shipping route fully operational. The remarks come amid rising tensions as US announced a blockade targeting Iranian ports following stalled negotiations with Tehran. And India moves to secure its energy lifelines as tensions continue to simmer in West Asia. At a high-level interministerial briefing on Monday, the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas assured that domestic LPG supplies remain stable, with no reports of shortages across distributors.
हमारी LPG डोमेस्टिक LPG सप्लाई नॉर्मल है, किसी भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर पर कोई ड्राई आउट रिपोर्टेड नहीं है। ऑनलाइन बुकिंग लगभग 99% तक पहुंच गई है। इसके अलावा डाइवर्जन को रोकने के लिए OTP बेस LPG डिलीवरी की जा रही है। कमर्शियल सप्लाईज के संबंध में जैसा कि आप जानते हैं कि 70% तक रेस्टोर की जा चुकी है and the measures have been taken to prevent supply chain disruptions, avoid shortages of essential goods and ensure continuity of industrial operation despite the ongoing global crisis. और अभी तक 14 मार्च से लगभग 1,82,900 टन कमर्शियल LPG की सेल हुई है।
Meanwhile, offering further reassurance, the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways confirmed that the Indian-flagged LPG vessel Jag Vikram has safely crossed the Strait of Hormuz on the 11th of April. Carrying over 20,000 metric tons of LPG and 24 crew members on board, the vessel is expected to dock at Kandla port on the 14th of April.
इंडियन-फ्लैग्ड LPG वेसल जग विक्रम ने 11 अप्रैल को क्रॉस किया था स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मुज को, और इस वेसल पर करीब 20,400 मैट्रिक टन LPG है और इसमें 24 सीफेरर ऑन बोर्ड हैं और इसके अब 14 अप्रैल को कांडला पहुंचने की संभावना है। मिनिस्ट्री ने अब तक 2177 से अधिक भारतीय सीफेरर की सेफ रिपेट्रिएशन फैसिलिटेट की है। इनमें 93 सीफेरर को पिछले 24 घंटे में गल्फ के विभिन्न लोकेशन से वापस लाया है। भारत के सभी पोर्ट्स पर ऑपरेशन नॉर्मल हैं और किसी प्रकार के कंजेशन की रिपोर्ट प्राप्त नहीं हुई है।
Hungary's veteran nationalist leader Viktor Orban lost power to the upstart centre-right party in Sunday's national election after 16 years in office, marking a setback for his allies in Russia and US President Donald Trump's White House. His landslide defeat handed TSO's Peter Magyar a comfortable majority in Hungary's 199-seater legislature.
The election result is painful for us, but clear. The responsibility and possibility of governing was not given to us. I have congratulated the winner. I thank you all for the great work. Dear friends, what this election results mean for the fate of the homeland and the nation, and what is deeper or higher meaning is, this we don't know. Only time will tell. But no matter how it turns out, we will also serve our country and the Hungarian nation from opposition.
As per official results, TSO secured a two-thirds majority with 138 seats in 199-seat parliament on 53.6% of the vote. Orban's Fidesz took 55 seats on 37.9% of the vote. Magyar pledged to restore checks and balances, ensure proper democratic functioning and set Hungary back on the right course.
Today, the Hungarian people said yes to Europe. They said yes to a free Hungary. They said yes to represent them, to help them, to put the country in order, because this is an Hungarian government, the responsibility of the Hungarian government. I call on the outgoing Prime Minister to act as an executive government from today and not to make any decisions that would tie the hands of the next government, the TSO government. Hungary will once again be a strong ally in the European Union and NATO.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Mr. Peter Magyar and TSO party on their resounding election in victory in Hungary. While India and Hungary share friendship rooted in deep historical ties, shared values and enduring mutual respect. Prime Minister Modi emphasized that the two countries' joint efforts will strengthen bilateral cooperation and tap into the opportunities of India-EU strategic partnership for the prosperity and well-being of people from both the countries. Kremlin has said it hopes to continue highly pragmatic ties with Hungary following a major political shift in the country. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has been voted out of power after 16 years, with opposition leader and his party emerging victorious. Moscow indicated it is keen on maintaining working relations with the new leadership.
The Hungarians have made their choice, and we respect that choice. We expect to continue our highly pragmatic contacts with Hungary's new leadership. We have heard statements about a readiness to engage in dialogue. Naturally, this would be beneficial both for Moscow and for Budapest. As for what actions the new Hungarian leadership will take, we will likely need to be patient and see how events unfold. I repeat, we are interested in building good relations with Hungary as well as all European countries. We know that when it comes to the European countries, for now there is no reciprocity.
And to talk more on this, we have Lars Holter, who is joining us from Deutsche Welle from Berlin. Good evening, Lars. What does the outcome of the election mean for Hungary?
It's huge. Many in Hungary are calling it regime change, and we really see the country's excitement in the numbers. Peter Magyar and his TSO party won a two-thirds majority, and that is what insiders had said would be necessary to enable him to really change not only the leadership, but the political system in Hungary. Because yesterday was not about one man alone. It was not just about Orban after 16 years. It was about a corrupt system. There will be many people in companies and institutions all across Hungary, longtime Orban loyalists, who will have to be replaced. And then, under new leadership, it seems Hungary can return to rule of law and revive its economy. That will surely take some time, but Hungarians, it seems, are thrilled about their prospects prospects. For more than a decade and a half, they've seen their economy weakened, their healthcare system broken, their incomes low, inflation rising, while the riches of the political elite grew. Now they voted for change and a much more moderate prime minister. And with Magyar promising to fight corruption and return to the rule of law, he is likely winning back foreign investors too. Those had been staying away from Hungary for years because they didn't find the country to be a reliable investment partner.
And zooming out a bit, what does the election result mean for the European Union and the rest of the world, Lars?
Some EU parliamentarians last night celebrated the, quote, end of a corrupt dictatorship. That, of course, is a pretty strong statement, but indeed Orban's loss is the EU's gain. For years, Hungary under Orban was an anti-EU outlier. Hungary under Orban wasn't allied with Brussels as much as with Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, two leaders to the west and to the east, respectively, that want to see the European Union weakened, as they see the bloc as an enemy or at least as a competitor to their own systems. And Orban did his best to support Trump's and Putin's bidding to help weaken the EU. Most recently, he blocked new EU sanctions against Russia. He blocked a 90 billion euro support package for Ukraine. And it has cost Hungary dearly. The country was basically cut off from some EU funds. They didn't partake in many EU programs that could have strengthened their infrastructure or their economy. Most recently, Brussels had blocked 17 billion euros in funds for Hungary because they classified the political system there as corrupt. Now, with this election yesterday and with defeating Orban, it seems Hungary is open to renewed cooperation within the European Union, and they will likely receive billions from Brussels rather quickly. That Magyar promised to invest in the healthcare system, education and other programs to strengthen the economy.
All right. Thank you so much, Lars, for joining us from Berlin and getting us a rounded perspective on the latest election results. Time for a quick and short break. We'll be right back.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India Live. Well, the Nari Shakti Vandan Sammelan was held in New Delhi and brought together leading women achievers, policy makers, spotlighting the growing role of women in shaping India's future. Addressing the event, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that women's empowerment is central to India's journey towards becoming a developed nation by the year 2047. Here's more.
Nari Shakti Vandan Sammelan, organized at New Delhi's Vigyan Bhavan on Monday, witnessed participation of eminent personalities and women achievers from diverse fields. It brought together representatives from different sectors such as government, academia, science, sports, entrepreneurship, media, social work, and culture who gathered to witness history in the making. The program comes ahead of Parliament's session, which is to be convened on 16th, 17th and 18th of April. Speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed Nari Shakti and said that India's journey to become a developed nation is incomplete without women empowerment.
भारत 21वीं सदी के सबसे बड़े निर्णयों में से एक निर्णय लेने जा रहा है। ये निर्णय नारी शक्ति को समर्पित है। साथियों, हमारा प्रयास है और हमारी प्राथमिकता भी है। इस बार भी ये काम संवाद, सहयोग और सहभागिता से हो।
The Sammelan was organized to reinforce the commitment towards greater participation of women in shaping India's development trajectory. It highlighted the increasing role of women in governance and leadership across all levels, from panchayats to parliament. Many eminent personalities echoed PM Modi's vision and thanked him for such breakthrough initiative.
ये हमारा संघर्ष इतने दिनों से चल रहा है और ये देश के हित में, नारी के हित में तो है ही, पूरी मानवता के हित में है, देश के हित में है.
India has to get number one people in the house to make decisions, and women from all fields and areas who are educated, who have learned from the country, are here to serve the country.
In September 2023, Parliament passed the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, marking a significant step towards enhancing women's representation in legislative bodies. The Act provided for reservation of 1/3 of seats for women in the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. Through the Sammelan, the government not only highlighted the role of women in the journey towards Viksit Bharat 2047, but also ensured government's continued commitment towards women-led development as a central pillar of the vision for Viksit Bharat 2047.
Ahead of the special parliament session, which is scheduled for the 16th, 17th and the 18th of this month, Nari Shakti Vandan Sammelan was organized, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi not only delivered a very strong message to each and every woman of the country, but also ensured that the aspirations of all the women are being taken care of and their dreams will be fulfilled, giving new wings to their dreams through this Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. With camera person Vimlesh, this is Deepika reporting for DD India from New Delhi.
So that was a special report. Moving on now. The last rites of legendary Indian playback singer Asha Bhosle were performed at Shivaji Park on Monday. The iconic singer was accorded full state honours. Members of the Bhosle and Mangeshkar families, along with several film personalities, gathered to pay their final respects to the artist fondly known as Asha Tai. She passed away at the age of 92 following a cardiac arrest, leaving behind an unparalleled legacy in the world of music, especially in India. Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Pranay Verma, held talks with Bangladesh's Information and Broadcasting Minister Zahiruddin Swapon in Dhaka to strengthen media cooperation. The two sides discussed a wide range of initiatives to enhance collaboration in the information and broadcasting sector, including exchange visits of media delegations and capacity-building programs under ITEC initiative. They also explored cooperation in film production, screenings and festivals, while reaffirming their commitment to deepening people-to-people ties through stronger media engagement. Moving on now, it's time to get you all the latest updates from the world of sports. To begin with cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad will face Rajasthan Royals in the 21st match of the ongoing Indian Premier League edition today. Sunrisers is 6th on the points table with a solitary victory from 4 games, whereas Royals is still unbeaten after winning all of its 4 games. In the previous fixture between these two teams, Sunrisers won by 44 runs, having posted 286 in the first innings, which is the highest team total in IPL's history. Royals batter Vaibhav Suryavanshi will be a major threat, as the 15-year-old has lately smashed world's leading quicks Jasprit Bumrah and Josh Hazlewood. To make matters worse for Sunrisers Hyderabad, they are without regular captain Pat Cummins, who's expected to rejoin later this week. In chess, Indian Grandmaster R. Vaishali went down to China's Jinhe Zhuzhou in Cyprus, throwing women's candidates chess tournament wide open with just 2 rounds remaining in the event. Vaishali lost with white pieces when a draw could have put her in the sole lead, but her instinct to go for a victory in every game got the better of her. Incidentally, this was the second loss in the tournament for the Indian women, and both these defeats came against Jinhe Zhuzhou. With 7 points in her kitty from 12 games, Vaishali was joined by Zhu in the lead position. In the other game of the day, India's Divya Deshmukh lost to Song Ki-tan of China, and both are out of contention for even a podium finish. In soccer, Manchester City reignited the Premier League title race after crushing Chelsea by 3-0 and moved within 6 points of leaders Arsenal. The visitors began the second half with renewed conviction and simply skipped through the opponents' shaky defences, scoring 3 goals in 17 minutes. Nico O'Reilly started the rout, following by Mark and Jeremy Doku that made it 3 goals in a row. City have a game in hand and their tails up before next week's Arsenal fixture. It was City's first Premier League victory since February, but they beat Arsenal by 2-0 last month to win the League Cup. Moving on, Baisakhi preparations are in full swing across India, with people gathering to practice traditional Bhangra moves to the rhythm of traditional instruments. The nation is gearing up for celebrations marking the harvest season, gratitude and new beginnings. And with those delightful visuals, it's a wrap here on DD India Live. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India Live.